Yes, 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 yes. We are back. Had the short lead in today, B. Nothing too long. You know what I'm saying? We ain't want to. We want to change things up every now and then. Can't be doing the same all the time. So, we just had the nice lead in there. Two, but we're still Hayward CPA Live. The Look, I use some hyperbole. The number one off the hook um, live stream and podcast to talk about how to run your business. That's right. We are number one. I mean, in our own little network, we number
Pretty much.
we number one. So it's cool today. It's gonna be interesting what comments we get because our cornerstone fan is actually in a different time zone. So she, yeah, I don't know. She ain't gonna be on. She will not be watching this live. So we are depending on others out here to give us our first good morning. That's right. Got to get. Hey, there you go. That way we get our first good morning. Yo, we got the homie on the building. Yo, my man Kev. What up, Kev? You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm talking about. So that's beautiful. Now I feel like we can start the show. See, without
Let's
that,
let's,
we got
let's
to get
get
at least
into it.
one what up. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, absolutely.
So the subject today, boom. What y'all don't understand is we actually did a little pre-production. There you go. So that's
And we
why I
didn't
like
and we didn't goof off too much either.
we didn't goof off too much. And like I'm on a glass table, knock on glass, everything is working. You know what's better
I'm
than
not
that?
I'm not I'm not gonna wood over here.
Yeah, you knock on the wood. I gotta find some wood. I'm all like
Look,
minimalist.
just boom, 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 bam.
Well, nah, I ain't going that far. Oh, here we go. I found the
You got some?
side of my monitor over there.
Oh, okay.
Knocked on wood. So we're good. But yeah, man. So what's up? What's up?
Man,
You know.
it's Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Tomorrow is the clock spring forward. Somebody turned the heat off. So
You pay the bill.
it's gonna get darker later, but we still in the and we still wearing heavy coats.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's crazy. It's like someone not turning it on, turning not turning well, turn the heat off, or it's almost like it's an inefficient unit. Like
Correct.
it
It works and then it
it
don't
works.
work.
Yeah,
It worked, then it don't
they
work.
need some service or something, man. Yeah, I don't
Unbelievable.
understand. You you got 65, so we're in North Carolina, and it's like 65, 70 or something, midday. Then at night is like 40. Like, we're like, and I'm like, huh?
High 30s, early 40s. It's
Yeah, I'm like,
crazy.
what the heck? You sitting there like, I don't know. So
It's the
I guess,
changing of the times, my brother.
or the end of the day, it's snowing in California, getting all our snow.
There's no, you know what? I'm gonna revert away from that.
Why? Because that could go real far.
We won't get into BYO bookkeeping.
Yeah, you don't want to go. Don't want to talk about that. Yeah, I don't want to get you started with that. Yeah, so you want another plane, so I don't want you to. If you go there, we may lose all our sponsors.
No, we won't. But we actually probably gain a lot more. But now it's a more advanced conversation. You know
Yeah,
what I
there's some
mean?
different sponsors.
Yeah,
Talking
for
to
real.
you, they be like,
Like,
"Oh,
wait a minute, yo, you got a point there.
uh
Can you
oh,
explain? Can you elaborate?
yeah, we got to check on that." So, all
Yeah.
right, without further ado, because I promised I wasn't gonna snap.
What that? What that? What that?
Yeah, I was like, I wasn't gonna snap today. So
I don't know what's happening in my screen, folks. So apologize for the blinky blink.
it's the conspiracy. So, of course,
I
it's
think I'm giving off a lot of energy today.
no, it's the balloons they keep shooting down, man. They done beat it in on you. They're like, we want that guy on our side. Him right there, that's who we want on our side. Right there. He gets it. So, I don't know.
My
You
name's
never know.
I'm gonna stand to the left.
Yeah, but me, they'll send me back. They'll be like, "Yo, he's
Yeah,
interesting fellow."
but you're an offset.
Yeah, I'm always, you know, I'm just different. Just different. You know what? That was my thing for the week. I know you have your personal growth week. I think honestly, I think we trailing because my snap week last week, I have felt more mature in the things that we deal with this week. Like after I snapped out last week. So sometimes I think when I snap, it's like me holding on to the vestiges of where I've been to go where I am. So
It's
I'm
the
calm. Plus,
resurrection. It's the
yeah,
resurrection of the new.
yeah. See, there you go. There we go. Yes. And I
See?
started taking a multivitamin, which I think is doing the most part for me. I think that's what's really helping me. So all the synapses are working, the working out and all that. I'm feeling the benefits, cause like malnutrition, which is ridiculous. I gain weight and I'm malnutrition, and then there's people in the world that they ain't eating nothing. They malnutrition. How are we the same? That's weird.
Right, right, right,
But I
right.
eat food. See, all right, we not going there because that's another conversation. That's a financial flip side conversation. To be honest with you,
This how we get down, man. We do what we want, how we do it. You know what I
that's why
mean?
we run transcripts of this, so we can come up with our next talent concept.
Nice,
But
nice.
anyhow, so yes, big shout to everybody. Like I said, Kev Parker, he and there in the building, and everybody else that's watching us on the book and on LinkedIn and wherever you might be consuming us. But I will turn it over to you. So let's get into the subject that's at the
Yeah,
bottom.
BYO bookkeeper. What? First of all, what is that?
Well,
What
it
does BYO stand for?
be not bring your own. It's be your own bookkeeper. This is a brainchild of lots of years of experience, and the next service line that we've launched, we soft launched it, call it beta launch. Um, for our clients, this is a new way for us to engage with our clients uh, in the modern world, with the technology that exists. So it's I'll save the details as you ask questions, but
Yeah, definitely. So the word bookkeeper is it's an old term, but it's a relevant term, right? So how do we communicate? How do we align clients with the understanding of being your own bookkeeper, and that's relatable to technology because you don't really need to have a dedicated bookkeeper per se. Technology provides that aspect. So what's the linkage there? How do people understand that?
well, accounting historically, accounting like most things was a manual process. Um, if you're invoicing, you handwrite it. I mean, heck, you were putting it in the mail. Uh, Bills were coming in the mail. You had to go write a check, put it, put the remittance in there, put a stamp in it. Payroll, very manual process. Purchasing, everything was manual. And even now, there are still companies that follow. I mean, substantial size companies
Yeah,
that
of
still
course.
follow it. So what has happened? What happened is the term bookkeeper started losing value to people because it was started being like, it's busy work. Like people would look at it as busy work, and it's busy work. But especially when online banking came in play, there was an opportunity to use technology to offset the manual task. And we're at a space now where there are applications that take the place of a lot of the manual processes that once existed in accounting, and specifically in bookkeeping. Now, bookkeeping, what let me define what bookkeeping is, at least from the Hayward CPA, which is, you know, the me point of view, bookkeeping is what we call the journal of a original record. So it's bookkeeping is recording the transactions in the journal of original record. That's the accounting term for it. So that's basically, in layman's terms, getting your bills, your invoices, your ins and outs, you know, onto the ledger, which was a term which was paper, and somebody handled that. That's what somebody did. Somebody's responsible. In a conventional system, the bookkeeper would handle all the transaction recording. That's
Mm-hmm.
what they would do. There's something called a full charge bookkeeper, which was a pretty good paying job. Full charge. They would be responsible for every transaction and would get posted to the transact. It would get posted to the ledgers, you know, and then the accountants would reconcile and do more type of analysis and reporting. But to not diminish bookkeeping. So when banks feeds and QuickBooks came out, so people don't understand, when QuickBooks came out, accountants clowned it. Oh, they couldn't. They were like, "What is this? This thing? Shit." I mean, it took forever for people to adopt QuickBooks.
Right.
Forever,
Right.
long time, because the industry is traditional. The profession is traditional, and is a lot of trust, a lot of internal trust too for accountants. So we're at a point now with the increase of online, people being more comfortable with the internet and the cloud, AI, machine learning, these things which we're just at the beginning of, and blockchain, that it has now, if you stick to the definition of recording transactions to the ledger, there are more tools that allow people to do it in a fraction of the time that it once took to do bookkeeping. So that's why there's an opportunity to BYOB.
Mm. I see you got a BY. Is that your BYOB shirt on there?
Yeah,
Boom.
preview. You know what I'm
Okay.
saying?
Okay.
Yo, this is. I
Okay.
should get an NFT because it's the only one right now. I don't even remember where I got it from because I was just trying out. I didn't want to. I didn't want to get a bunch of them and then never do the program.
True.
So
True.
that's
True.
why.
True.
So, but I
True.
would. But the game will be out there. Obviously, all all internal team members will get theirs first, and then we'll get it
Nice.
there.
Nice. Nice.
So
Now, so thank you for that explanation. So, in terms of utilizing technology, because you said now with technology being in place, it makes it a lot easier for the transaction to be recorded, right?
mm-hmm.
So, in most cases, these technology platforms have a dashboard. Well, how does a dashboard help a business owner, small business owner, to understand what's happening inside of their business?
Well, quite simply, if in the way we approach it for the BYOB version 1, the way we approach it is to really maintain a view of your cash in and cash out, because most of the businesses that we're talking about doing this are the cash, not cash businesses, but cash based. They're cash based taxpayers. They're cash based. They're worried about cash. It's not so much of an accrual thing, which accrual is good for measuring things,
Mm-hmm.
but they're really about cash. And cash is the most important aspect of any business, specifically a small business. So the dashboards allow you to look. If you got 6 checking accounts, and we use Zero software. Shout out to Zero.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we can do that because we
Yeah,
have a
no,
relationship with them.
no doubt, no doubt.
So um, you can see the balance and the ledger balance um, all in one place, and there are other boxes you can check in there to see other things, how much you spent, how much you might have spent in a specific category, and things like that. But to sum it up, I'd say it can keep you in tune to what's going on.
On every day,
Yeah,
basically log in, take a look, see the activity, what's happening. So you're informed. So when you do, so when the business owner does come to a tax professional CPA, now it comes with some sort of information so you can have an intelligent conversation.
yeah. I mean,
Got you.
yeah. I mean,
Understood.
it's like, and I think that my opinion is that it's one of those things where, because in America we don't math too well. We don't, anything with math, we, it's kind of like, ooh, like we don't do math. We don't like. I mean, I almost feel like we don't like math. Like everything in this country is about money, but we don't like math. Like it's crazy. Like,
But it's different. We count the money though.
yeah, you count some money real quick, but anything that's a discipline that you learn or something about math, people just, oh my gosh. So
Yeah.
people start opening, they're running a company or starting a company, and they don't want to deal with the math of the company. And so it's like shoved off. It's, I'll deal with it later. It's one of those things, it's like homework, which when they used to assign it, they don't even assign homework. My understanding, I don't think they assign homework on any level nowadays. It's one of those things where unless somebody's looking for it, it's easy for a business owner to not have to deal with it. I don't have to deal with it,
I get
so I
that.
don't do it. I'm just not going to deal with it. And our, our intent here is to be like, no, we we could say Warren Buffett and different people have said, hey, accounting is the language of business. So I always say, well, if you're participating in business, how could you not know the language? That's it. Now, yeah, you're not in business to be a bookkeeper. You're not in business to be an accountant. That's what we do. That's our business. We accountants. But the language, you can't ignore the language. You just can't start, be like, oh, and that's what we see a lot. I mean, people just neglect it, and I don't. Oh my God! I mean, the number of times I've heard, oh, I mean, the accounting is too much. I'm I can't deal with none of that. No, like that. I mean, in my early career, my Thursday, the number of times I hear it, I get it. And before, yes, it was daunting. If I mean, really, if you were sitting down. But the funny part is, people were doing it because you had to pay the bills. You had to send your bills out. I mean, so it's easier to run around with a checkbook, which we all back in the day we used to have the checkbook in the car. Hey, it's like you make it move. But you're not collecting any. The data's not being collected in one place, so that not only you as the proprietor or the leader, but it can be communicated to other people. And so now what we're saying is like, since most people don't have a 3-ring notebook, I mean checkbook, some do. Some still got it, the 3 to a page checkbook.
True, true,
Someone I
true,
was
true.
talking to, they still had it. I was like, wow. I was like, I was like, wow. But now there's other methods for you to do it, and we're in a data world. Everything's about data. So you want to have the stuff like lined up. So yeah, that's where we. I don't even know what question you asked me. See, there you go. I'm just talking.
It's
I'm
all
long
good.
winded.
I got the. I think I got my flag somewhere around here. But
Oh, in case I go too far.
yeah. So talk to me now. I know bank reconciliation is a big thing, right? So we get quite a few people that do ask us based off of they need a bookkeeper and does the firm do reconciliation? Now the software does reconciliation, and being YOB, once you're being trained on how that works, the software allows for time management, right? Saves time and reconciliation based off of how the technology is set up, right?
Yeah. Well, clear. What I guess to start with determine what reconciliation is and where it comes from. So Remember, in the manual process, and actually in a bookkeeping process, I will separate bookkeeping. Most times most times, but by design, you're supposed to be recording things as they occur. So I write Corey a check on December 31st, 2023. I write it and put it in the mail. Corey doesn't get the check till January 5th of 2024. So when I get my bank statement, the check will not have cleared the bank. So if I'm going on my bank statement only, then that means my bank statement will mislead my cash because I believe I have more cash than I really do. If I never recorded the check I wrote to Corey anywhere, you know. And this works with electronic payments too, because you can put electronic payment out and it doesn't actually process, especially on cutoff times, like the
Right.
next month, the next
Right.
period,
Right.
like that. So with a reconciliation by design is saying that everything that went through the bank is cleared in my ledger, but I might have items in my ledger that have not cleared the bank. And the reconciliation balances that number so that the ledger number represents the activity against the bank. And I know which items have not cleared the bank. So in an efficient system, I can depend on the ledger number because that's truly the amount of cash I have.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what a reconciliation is. People, and rightfully so, they mistake it for posting the transactions. They think,
Gotcha. Right.
we
Right.
want
Right.
somebody to post the transactions. So
Right.
reconciliation often was done by accountants in that thing. Accountants do it. Now think about it. If you have somebody that has a huge transaction load, I mean, they doing 1,000 transactions a week. Like, you think of the concept.
Mm-hmm.
That's a job reconciling doing all
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like,
Correct.
and even when you get 50, 60 transactions a week, even on this scale, it's a job. Like you have to see that. And this stick with the bank. So what Zero and I mean QuickBooks Online does it too is but Zero, I'll focus on Zero because the way they do it is interesting. Um they basically, because they take the bank feed and it matches up with what you have in the ledger. Now, many of us, we don't have anything in the ledger. Everything's running through the bank. So we posting it there. And that's where we get to this, I need an accountant to do my reconciliations
Mm-hmm.
because there's nothing, they're just writing checks or doing EFT or using debit cards or something like that. And no one's recording the transactions. So they're like, and then when we had the conversations, practitioners at the end of the year from tax preparation, we're saying, well, your books aren't reconciled. Instead of us saying, one, you haven't recorded any entries in the book, in your books. There's nothing recorded there. I mean, and that's, it's semantics, but that's really what's happening, to make a clarity in our services. Oh no, you haven't posted any transactions. So, because it's posted transactions, then you reconcile it against the state. So it's
Right.
two steps.
Right.
It's not, but we summarize it. Say, oh, you haven't reconciled your books. But the reality
Mm-hmm.
is, you haven't posted a thing. Nothing's been posted. So none of these transactions have been posted. And so what happens, what that does is that you're not truly reconciling at the end of the year because all you're doing is posting all your transactions for the year and making sure you're using the bank statement to make sure that every transaction went to the bank, went there. But it's not. If we go back to my definition of reconciliation, like anything, reconcile. We basically take this, we're separated, figure out why there's a difference and
Mm-hmm.
we fill in the gaps. I mean, they do that in other terms too. The term reconciliation, we fix it to be
Right. Right.
here.
Right.
So those are the things that now with a zero, and part of what I'm gonna anticipate one of your future questions, but thinking about the definition of reconciliation is something that you can do it in real time now with these tools. You can make
Mm-hmm.
sure. So for the first thing, for as a business owner, your transactions can get posted within the month or the
Mm-hmm.
week that you're doing,
Right.
and with the software makes it easier to do.
Right.
The It's a great idea to be doing it anyway, but the software makes it easier.
Okay.
That sounds pretty good.
It
If you
does.
if you call in now, I'll throw in an extra. It sounds like an infomercial. I'll throw in my guide on how you too can be.
You too can be a reconciliator.
Yeah, you could be a reconciliation master
You know what I
right
mean?
now.
100%.
I'm feeling the commercial come on for
Uh
Instagram.
oh. Uh oh. Uh oh. Here we go.
The Instagram commercial be
Back
crazy.
up. Back up. Beep, beep, beep. Sorry. So talk to me about invoicing, which is the most important part of a business. Invoicing. How
Well,
does
yeah.
that system, how does the approach, you know, align with invoicing?
Well, I mean, this is another area that many small businesses do inefficiently. Um, dare I say, from an accounting standpoint, they do it wrong because, as you said, invoicing is the direct link to your revenue, and people invoice with Word documents and Excel, and they email them and all that. And if you have one client, yeah, I get it. You know what I mean? Like this is like, you know, why be bothered with all this extra? I love hearing that one. You know, but multiple clients, or you have somebody that you know, you send them an invoice, and it's kind of your due date doesn't matter. Whatever they pay you, you don't know when they're gonna pay you. You have no clue. So that being detached from your that often tells me when somebody's not using an accounting system because you're detached. You're trying to do all this stuff in your head. So if you're recording your invoices, then you have a receivable. And then you can look at your receivables. And your receivables are, monies that are owed to you. And then you can use something called a receivable aging report to see how old your receivables are.
Like
And you
0 to
can,
30, 30 to 60, 60 to
yeah,
120, right? Right.
yeah,
Okay.
60 to 90,
60 to 90, 90
and
to
then
120.
90 to
Yeah.
you ain't about to get it.
Yeah.
So that's what it is. just to be real. It just, 90 is on the edge. I mean, really, when you get to 60, ain't looking too good for you. and, uh, and I'm gonna test to this. I'm not. I'm telling you, it ain't looking good. It ain't looking good. 30 is according to your business too. 30. Now, if you deal with big corporations, it's probably gonna be 90 to 120.
Right.
But if you out here in the marketplace dealing with people, yeah, yeah. So, but there's information you need to know. You need to know that. Plus, recording it gives you a systematic way to record your revenue transactions.
Now, is there a benefit to, because there's a lot of payment platforms out here, POSs and all of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
Is there a benefit to using those platforms and connecting them to your zero accounting system, or should you just stay in one particular place and use the zero for your invoices and collection of money? And then what do you link that collection to? Because most people don't know.
It has to do with transaction load. So, zero has the ability to do those items. I mean, it can do invoicing, billing, in AP, billing, reimbursements, expense reimbursements. It can do all that. But based on your business and what needs to be recorded, you may look at other applications and connect them to zero. Um, that's the best way to do it. And that's where one place where we're starting to fit in as a firm is building tech stacks for individuals to say, hey, use this, use this, use this, so that the accounting system works for you. As long as the information gets it to zero. But if you can do it in zero without extra cost, do it. But if it's like, oh man, well, we need this, sometimes it's like permissions or things like that, or actually, but we'll get into the AP part. That's probably where it's really going in. But the collections, some people use Square. um Good thing. If you're receiving your payments with Zelle or Venmo or PayPal, the dreaded PayPal, oh, it works. This, I'm speaking this as an accountant. If you have a PayPal, well, this is just in, okay. If you got PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, how you consider your payment thing, your bill is going to be significantly higher with us, because those systems create more So for every one transaction, like for instance, PayPal creates two transactions for every one at minimum. Venmo is a whole. PayPal owns Venmo, so they're cousins. And Zelle. I mean, it's like the bill paid. It's in the checking account, but it's just a whole thing, man. And you
It's
have to
still a
spend a
third
lot of
party
money.
application anyway, so
Yeah, but
yeah.
it doesn't. The information. So banks to date, all the information. The banks do well with credit cards and debit cards,
Mm-hmm.
but deposits and things like that, we don't do good passing information from banks now. Right now, so it makes the practitioner have to do more work, and and then just leads to more error. I mean, the more manual stuff is, the more error or the loss of data, or something like that. So
So if you were going to suggest somebody to use Zero for all of their in and out, what would that look like? Sending out an invoice, receiving the collections through the bank account. Bank account takes in the payment, and then it feeds to Zero and it's recorded. Then you go in and you reconcile it at that particular time, right?
yeah, so you would go in, just in a manual thing. You put your invoice in, you email it through Zero. The individual pays you, whatever method. The bank transaction comes in and it gets matched up to the invoice, just to keep it simple.
Okay.
And then now the invoice is you see it. In a lot of cases, the machine learning will figure out, oh yeah, it's this one.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you have like unique billing amounts,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
342.26.
Mm-hmm.
Now you might have a bunch of 342.26s, but so
Mm-hmm.
you had to keep track. That's why you truthfully should record the payment when you get it. I guess the step back is to talk about your question is, you want to move away from managing your books through your bank statement.
Right.
So in an efficient system, or one that's more sophisticated, or one that leads towards all these sexy terms that we talk about, forecasting and you know
Projections.
advisory and
Yeah, yeah.
KPI and all that, you have to have your system has to give you the data regardless of the bank. The bank is a conduit, it's an endpoint, like that. But you want to record the transactions as they happen in your ledger. Your ledger should represent what happened and when it happened. So if you received the ACH payment today for an invoice, so weekends are a good example. I received something today. Now it's technically not even, the bank's not going to do anything with it until Monday night. But now, if I'm running my AR ledger, and I'm like, oh, whoever paid you on Saturday is not going to be in open AR, even though the money has not gotten in the bank yet. That's reality of what we have. But now it seems subtle, But those are the basics. That's the molecular level of bookkeeping that allows all these big high end, as sexy as accounting can be, type terms that people love, they're enamored with. They like, I like this, a CFO and all this stuff. It all starts with these transactions. There's no way no one could be a CFO without these transactions being recorded. It's
So
impossible.
so so invoice skips. This is just so people. This is our instructional too, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
for people that need to be encouraged, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's the invoice is sent, invoice gets paid, it's received by the bank. It needs to be posted and then reconciled.
Yeah, so it,
And
it
that
should be
and that
posted
posting.
when
Hmm.
received, and then it'll go to the bank, and then you reconcile it after that.
Cool,
So it's a
cool.
4-step process. I'm glad you put that out there. Pretty smart guy.
Oh, hey man, it's all about learning.
Yeah, it
You know
is.
what I mean? It's all
Yeah,
about learning.
and so we can flip it. Same thing on your bills, accounts payable.
That was
So
my next question.
yeah, well, I jumped the gun as usual. so this is what I do.
It's all
Um,
right, man. It's all right.
you know, you receive a bill email. You get the email. Now you get the email, you post it, you put the bill in there. Insurance is a good one, stuff like that. What you record, we get into, but let's just call it an insurance bill. And it's sitting there. You don't have to pay it for 30 days. But what this does is it creates an account payable ledger. So in the next 30 days, you have a schedule of, these are the bills that need to be paid. And in some cases, when you short, you're like, well, they ain't getting this one. This big. Anyway, that's the 300 cost. We'll come back to that later. But it gives you a schedule of all the bills you have outstanding. It allows you to plan your outflows. Allows you to look and say, hey, I know I got payroll this week, but this is due here. It gives you a chance to do that. And that's something that is probably even more valuable than AR, because we talk about cash flow planning or whatever. That's part of it. You can't cash flow plan if you need three elements: the cash you have, the cash you expect to receive, and the cash you have to pay out. Without those elements, you can't plan your cash flow. So if we sit down with a client and you're like, well, how much you have to spend a month? I don't know. Well, how much you collect a month? I don't know. I pay my bills. Okay, okay. What am I supposed to? What you got in the bank? I don't know. I can pull the statement up. Okay, this interview was over. We out of here. Peace.
So look, so do me the great explanation. So we have posting on the receiving end, and we have posting on the paying bills, the payables end.
Yep.
So what does posting mean? Just tell me what. Just tell the people what posting is, because I'm not sure that they really get that.
Oh, posting is recording it in your ledger. So let's expand. General
Yeah, it's
ledger.
general ledger.
General ledger is something that it's okay to learn the term. It won't make you an accountant overnight. It's the general ledger is the ledger from the good old abacus days and whatever. It is the detailed listing of all the transactions that happen in each individual account. So posting is the term that we use to write it down. If you've ever seen the little green and white, and I'm gonna go get. I don't know if I can find it somewhere. I might have one.
Oh, I have
Uh,
one somewhere
a
too.
ledger paper. Like you right, but I mean it's good. Even in movies, when like when they were always like it was two sets of books for the mafia or something. It
Yeah,
was like
yeah,
yeah, it was
yeah,
ledgers.
yeah.
So it's your general ledger. Every business has one, even if you don't do it. you have one.
Right.
You have a general ledger. You want to sit there and know every transaction is going to the ledger. We do it digital now. We do it there so it's the, shall we say, the scorecard of your business.
And it's
That's
the posting of the debits and the credits, right?
that's right. The
Left
debits and the
column, right
credits.
column. We got
But
you.
we can make it easier. The inflows and outflows of each one of those accounts, and there's some directional things that go there. This
Mm-hmm.
is once again, that's what I said. I'm not trying to teach people accounting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just I want to firm up because there's certain keywords that are used that I
Yeah,
think makes people feel very uncomfortable. And so this can help them to kind of digest it, chew on it, digest it a little bit easier as they begin to sign up for our BYO bookkeeper program.
yeah.
They'll have a reference point to come back to.
Oh, no doubt. No, I get it. I've been saying, I would even say that I think there are terms that people are comfortable with but have no clue what they mean.
Right,
Because I
right,
mean, that's the thing. They know accountants do debits and credits. I mean, what does that mean?
right, right. And then
Like,
how does that relate
what does it
to
mean to you? Yeah, that's the better question. What is it? It's not what it
well,
means. It was,
I think most people are comfortable with debits, the word debit, because of it. They can associate it to a tangible thing, which is a debit card.
debit. Yeah, but then the debit. This is where it's bananas because your bank shows a debit as your. There's a reason why your bank shows when you put it money in, it debits, and when you take it out, it's a credit. See, no, when you put it in, it's a credit. When you take it out,
Correct.
it's a debit.
It's a debit. Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
but there's a reason for that people don't realize
Let's expand on it.
because on the bank, on their books, it's the reverse.
Correct.
Because when you put the money in, you know what I'm saying, it's a yeah. See, I'm all confused now.
Because the bank is the business. They keeping their books.
They keep their
So
books their way. It's the opposite.
it's the opposite. I
It,
totally I understand where you was going with it.
yeah,
Right.
it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
totally opposite, and it's like you put money in, your account is credited.
Right.
So that's because your account is a liability to them
Correct.
because you have their money,
Correct.
and then when you debit it you know
Correct.
that's right because they get the debit and the credit. That's why because the credit is it's your money in the bank. You know it's there for 6.5 minutes or so, whatever how long is there. The
Mm-hmm.
long as they have the bank, it's in the bank. It's a lot. It's the bank's liability. The bank owes you the money,
Right.
but when you take it out, they no longer owe you the money.
Correct.
So it's a it's a debit for them.
Correct. Correct.
So
Correct.
and a credit for their cash. But see,
Correct.
that's all the accounting I'm giving you today. That's
No, that's good.
yeah,
Good
that's it.
stuff.
So
Good
so
stuff. Good stuff.
so
Good
yeah, but
stuff.
in your books, when you put money in the bank, is a debit.
Right.
See, that's what I'm saying. In
Right.
your business, when you put it in, is a debit, and
Right.
that's why I say it's easier to go cash in, cash out. So that is cash in. What we dealing with cash, and that's
Well, left column is cash in. Right is cash out.
yeah,
Debit
but
credit.
you see, you could get it's so semantical. It's
I
ridiculous.
understand, but it's the way that the system is set up.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm trying to put it so that to keep it simple. That you whatever if you want to use left, right, I don't care what side you want to use. You got cash in and cash out. That's what I think. That's really what I'm getting at. Like those are the things that in our BYOB curriculum
No doubt.
that we want to focus on that because we don't want to overwhelm the
Correct.
students.
Correct. Correct.
We
Correct.
don't want to
Correct.
overwhelm them because the worst thing is for people to get like, oh, this is too much. I can't deal with it.
Right.
And that's one of the reasons I like Zero because it uses terms like cash in, cash out. Like it
Correct. Correct.
it says,
Correct.
even on the screen with as I've been onboarding people, it really is. I've been showing people like, oh yeah, like it says, hey, this is what happened in your bank, and this is what happened in your ledger, your books, whatever, you know, like
Well, we
that.
got it. We just given the layman, right? Because there's quite a few people that don't use anything, or they use QuickBooks or what other what other software they use. So as we bring them over
Spreadsheet. Yeah, I'm just saying.
paper,
Paper,
paper, We
yeah,
just
so
reviewed
paper is even
paper.
more
Oh
bananas.
man, we just had somebody that sent us some papers, didn't we?
Yeah, they did, didn't they?
A
And we,
whole bunch of papers. I was like, "What?
yeah, like, where you
No,
been? Like,
no. What are you talking about?"
like you just
And
got, yeah, where you been with it? I don't understand. But
that's
yeah,
a heavy.
that's what.
Anyway,
Yeah,
yeah,
but
yeah.
that's what we got. But we're
Gotcha.
pushing forward. We pushing. We're starting with the beginning. That's what we're doing here.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Any advice on on the tech side, BYOB bookkeeper tech side? I mean, other than what you've given off in the beginning, in the middle, towards the end here, and what you're going to continuously say and what you said previously. But you know, new eyes, new day, new people, new followers.
Yeah, first time listeners,
Yeah,
long time watcher, first time caller. We
yeah.
gotta get the phone call game going on here.
Oh yeah,
But somebody
definitely.
gonna have to screen it though, because it could get ugly real
Oh
quick.
yeah, yeah.
Um, don't be afraid of it. Now it's not just in the accounting function. And I think seven business functions. If we use that paradigm, it could be argued. You can say 5 to 7 functions. All right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
There are tools now for every function, and I personally I like software because it puts a somewhat of a constraint on you. It gives you a framework to work. It's not perfect per se, but it gives you a framework to put a system in, because software by nature is, for it to work thus far, even though I used that open chat thing this week and it's really scary. I'm gonna talk about that in a second. Like, it's dope, but it's scary. Like, so, you know, like, um, but be, use it, use the technology and don't cop out. That's what I think I hear most from people. I'm not good with this. I'm not good with that. Then you see them have some 3-dimensional video on TikTok for doing some whole other stuff. And they flying in the sky and all that. They learn how to use green screen and all that, but they be, I don't know how to do that. I'm not trying to too much, but like, I get it. It's not exciting for some. It's exciting for me. It says a lot about me. But
Okay,
use the tech.
that note taken, because that leads into, you know, having a system in place that allows for, as you say, those sexy terms and questions to come up, where now you can have a conversation, and you know, analysis conversation around uncertainty, right? Because business is about uncertainty and removing as much uncertainty as you can, so you can develop a forecast and insight, so you can take action to maneuver. That's the business development side of me, right?
Yeah, yeah,
So no, that's good stuff, man. That's good stuff.
yeah. It's necessary. But I will
Yeah.
say this, before I go into my tech update for the week.
Uh,
That's Yeah, we almost made it. 48 minutes. We'll see. See if I we almost made it.
get my flag. Let me get my
Man, it
flag.
might go down.
Let me get my flag. I gotta find my
I've been
flag.
surprisingly calm about this. I tell you, those new vitamins,
Woosah,
man.
woosah.
Those new vitamins kind of working. They're generic too. Like,
Yeah.
so, yeah, straight off the drugstore. You
Oh, I
know,
got some new vitamins myself, man, and they
you sound like you got one of them vitamin packs. You got to take like 6 of them.
it is.
Yeah, I can't do all that.
But listen, but let me tell you something. This thing right here is 5.
Yeah,
But I took this thing, when I started taking it, I had to back down off of it.
yeah, you stayed up for 3 days.
Yo, creativity was through the roof.
Yeah, yeah, you wouldn't go to
I'm like,
sleep. That's what
what?
I feel like. What's going on?
Like,
Yeah, so But
My head banging like mad pull-ups. Like, oh, I'm here with it. Oh, I'm all the way over here.
you wide
Oh.
open. Oh, you like that? And put that stuff down.
Like, yo, so okay, so I've got on because I take my other regimen stuff.
Yeah,
You
you
know what
got
I
a
mean?
bunch of
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
But this right here, and everything's all natural, right? So I was like, you know what I'm gonna do? Once a week, I rock out with
Oh, what? Oh, you only need once a week. That's
it.
potent.
Yeah,
Them Beverly Hill Cops vitamins, Axel Foley had in the
son.
bag. He was like, "Yo, that's potent." But
Because that protein in it, and all the other little 92 minerals that the body needs and all of
yeah,
that,
it get you, yeah, it get you
Yeah,
fired up.
yeah, yeah.
Nah,
Plus,
yeah. Plus, there's other things. Yeah, other benefits.
of
So,
course.
but no, what I'm saying is that I mean, as I just go back to the bookkeeping is like learning your ABCs. When you go to kindergarten, ABCs and 1, 2, 3s, and if you're early stage or you don't have a lot of transactions or you're just getting started, um, I feel like it's important to participate in it. You might even have a staff person, because it's just too much right now.
Hmm.
But you learn together, and then now, not only that, you can have an intelligent conversation with your staff person because if you end up with an internal accounting function or something there, I mean, think about the inefficiency of always, from the accountant standpoint, always having to explain something to the person running the show because they don't understand it, and and after a certain point, you have purposely decided that you're not going to understand it. You
Hmm.
got to be like, well, I'm not. So what you do is you listen to a couple of articles or you listen to somebody talk on, like a live stream like this. That's not an accountant, and you learn a couple of terms, and because it's well, I'm trying. We got a few
Mm,
minutes. I'm
mm,
trying.
mm.
I'm trying
I'm,
hard to
I got my
understand.
finger on the button.
Oh
I'm
yeah, you
about to
got one of
blow
them
this whole
reaction
thing out.
buttons.
I'm gonna blow this whole thing. Oh yeah,
Yeah, no,
you know what I
but
mean?
what I'm saying is, I, I'm cool. I'm cool, but uninformed. There's no reason in this day and age to be uninformed about it. Like you can, and it's better to learn when things are moderate because then when things get bigger, you truly not gonna have time to sit back and learn. And
Right.
I don't understand and this and that. And so the way I look at it is the bookkeeper is set up to, and it's not a revenue thing. It's more about transaction size of your company, thing like that. While you can, I mean, if you grow, which is what we all want, and I'll say we want all our clients to do to grow. No one's saying clearly you're not gonna be doing the bookkeeping. You got a 10-person staff or something like that. I mean, I get it. But does it really hurt to understand, okay, what's supposed to be going on and being able to talk to somebody in a way that, okay, I get it. But it's just interesting around this subject how vulnerable people are and how they cover up their vulnerabilities.
Yeah,
See that?
because it's
See,
dealing with
see,
money, man.
yeah. See how I kept it. I kept it eye level.
Keep it
Yeah,
high
yeah,
level. That's
yeah.
right.
See, so
Because I was looking. Because you got rid of my chimes too.
nah, they
Just so
should
you
be there. I see it.
know, you see it from your purview.
Yeah.
Mine's
Oh,
are
then you
just.
should be able to. Well, we still playing with this thing to figure out how to.
Yeah, but I was in the moment.
I know you
I,
was getting
I
ready
was
to
I was
blow me
ready.
up.
I was in the moment.
Yeah, we all probably because of the way it went. We
Yeah,
got we
yeah,
gotta
yeah,
get
yeah.
we gotta play with this like before we actually do the stream.
Yeah, yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
problem.
We're learning,
Yeah,
folks,
we're
but
learning to
we're,
constantly
we're,
learn.
we're a lot farther along than we were
Yeah,
before.
yeah. So we have more time to enhance.
We're about to
So,
get really
but
trick
look,
it out.
my weekly my okay. This is gonna be my rant, but it's calm. It's calm.
Okay,
So
okay.
The big thing is on the tech side. A friend of mine hit me. He was like, the chat GBT. He was like, yeah, I wrote this email. He's in politics, so he used it to send out a fundraising email. Like he was like, it took me 3 minutes. And wrote the whole thing. Wrote the whole email for it. So I've been hearing about this. So I went and signed up for it and wrote. I forgot what I just was putting stuff in like, hey, write me a this for so on and so forth. And the thing is sitting up there and is writing it like some straight, shall we play a game, war games type. But yo, man, like, like it was writing. Man, it was spooky, man. I was like, oh my goodness, man. Like we really on some Jetson stuff, man. Like for real. The joint was writing it. Obviously, it's not gonna be. But I mean, the stuff I had written was pretty perfect. I shared the thing with you. The guy
Yeah,
sent me.
yeah, yeah. That's why I asked you. I said, did somebody send you that?
Like, yeah,
Like a person sent you that?
Chat GPT. He sent it to me, but that's who wrote it.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow.
so that's an example of. So what happens? You've had Grammarly. You've had all these things. So sending an incoherent email is inexcusable. So I'm applying the same thing here, that we're at a point where having no books or no general ledger, we're going to start using that. And having no general ledger or having no general ledger. There's no excuse for not having a general ledger nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
Too many tools.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're trying to do is just make the environment. We set you up. Let me talk about the program. Okay, this is the last. I could do the quick plug now. All right. So, I mean, basically, it involves a training, onboarding training, and periodic monitoring to see, and which creates an accountability factor for the business owner. Accountability to say that you're doing that. You're posting your transactions at the minimum. There's times there's going to be, you're going to miss transactions. There's going to be stuff going on. Bank feeds break, things like that. So that's what we sit in to fill that role, to kind of be a lifeline. Not for us to post the transactions. You're there to post the and part of posting transactions is assigning a category to the transaction. I missed that earlier. To assign a category. But you would be surprised when you start assigning. You'd be surprised at how much you eat out through your business account. If you're not posting it, you don't realize it. I'm telling you, and you're like, what? Huh? Then you start looking. I went that day. I went to Starbucks. I went to Starbucks 3 times that day. I went there, like, illuminating. That's your word. Illuminating, and I think there's value in that, because I think you can use that to because the transactions, they trace behavior. Accounting transactions, they trace behavior. So, I mean, it gets deep, but I just have a feeling that more people should do it, especially if you're just starting. You want to outsource everything. There's a point. Yes, you outsource it. You send it to us.
But you got to know what you're outsourcing, though. You got to have an
Yeah.
understanding of what you're outsourcing.
Yeah, and then understand what we're doing.
Right.
You come to us. So
right.
It was a great thing. It's a great program. We're gonna have more literature on it, and more content around it. And now that you put me on the spot here, I have no choice but to make videos about BYOB. Be your own bookkeeper. Coming to a platform near you. Maybe even a Patreon. Give me some change. So, but you've just set my thesis now. So now I'm ready to go out here and speak, be on the circuit, telling people, get your books right, do it. There's a place for you to hire a firm to do it. And you can hire, and the beauty of it, though, is that this is what the BYOB means. For many of these things, you can take an administrative person to cover. And as I said, before the pitchforks come out from the professional bookkeepers, I'm not saying that they will never need a professional bookkeeper. But, man, so many businesses, we gotta get out the starting block. Y'all gotta start doing this stuff because we can't
Yes.
get to this
Yeah.
higher level stuff that y'all claim you want, but you want someone that's with a seat at your table, which sometimes really means you want us at your feet. But I couldn't help it, damn man. But it's 12 o'clock. I got through a whole hour, so there you go. So that's what we're gonna have to sign
Like
off soon because
like
I
yeah, 12 o'clock and 10 seconds, right?
that's
Like
hey,
wow.
I finished. I got through, but I digress. That you want trusted advisors need to be able to advise you, and you have to be speaking the same language. That's what I got. I'm
Boom.
done. I'm
Excellent.
quiet now.
Great stuff, man.
Wonderful.
Appreciate the explanation and the walkthrough on the BYOB accounting system, general ledger, posting, right? So on and so forth. The sexy, unsexy part of understanding the language. I think that's helpful for people, man, because we run across a lot of sole proprietors too, right? And in that regard, they don't touch any type of accounting system, or they purchased it because somebody told them to purchase it, or they got a deal on it at the time and they don't use it.
Mm-hmm.
And we know what that comes from, but like you say, it's with the way that technology is and which the way that BYOB is set up, there's a place for support. And so, take your time with it. It's okay. But at least slow walk it a
Yeah.
little bit at a time. Take it from me, people. Slow walk it.
Slow walk.
Slow walk.
Take it easy.
Can't drink a gallon of water at one time.
Nope. I mean,
So we appreciate you know, your insight, the illumination to this stuff. And, we'll continue down the road at different segues because we'll try to touch on what P&L, how does that relate? Balance sheet, how does that relate? And talk
yeah.
about those other kind of components too. And make it kind of fun and exciting for people.
Yes. You know, hashtag sexy back.
Yeah.
I don't know how, but we will find a way to make it. I mean that's the thing, and it's a continual journey because we talked about like what those statements were, and now it's talking about how you use them. But in the BYOB, we talking about how do we generate them. We need this general ledger. So I would say if you're using Excel or paper, it works, but you're going to miss out on um, being able to receive certain advice or make your life easier.
Well, because analyzing comes into play. Analyzing, right? And this is the thing too. Like when you go for like a loan or you trying to price. Let's say you do government contracting, and the government wants to know if you can withhold hold the business down until you get paid out by them. And
Mm-hmm.
you're now the accounting system allows you to do an analysis so you can forecast your inflows, your cash flows, your outflows, your payables, and things like that. So as to your point, writing it down is a good exercise, but it's not just about the recording of it. It's about the look forward, which is the most important piece.
Yeah, and to build on what to take that scenario you just mentioned, that um, accounting is the language of business, and your transactions are written on Excel will not communicate with any of those parties you just mentioned. They don't.
Hmm.
That's you can't hand that to somebody.
Hmm.
Be like, well, I
Correct.
keep all my receipts and all that. You trying to borrow $150,000 from me and you don't have what I expect, basic expectation, but you keep it. Then you come on fire. You come to a firm and try to get it, and I'm like, what am I supposed to do with this? Because
Well, here's a good exercise. Understand what VCs want,
yeah,
right?
understand with anybody. I mean, even if it's
Anybody, but they're a little that whole VC.
Yeah, that's another level.
That's a whole. But if you go to a high level, you can
You can
hang
see
out
the
down here. Yeah,
similarities. Yeah.
100%, 100%.
Well, I'm with it. That was good. See, I'm gonna get ready to sign off before I, do what I
No
do.
doubt, no doubt. No,
Before I,
it was an easy Saturday,
yeah,
easy
it was
Saturday.
easy. It was easy. Yeah, this was eye level. Yeah, I needed that. So you kept me calm because you were asking questions, so I couldn't hulk out or anything. It was, you know, I think of my score. I think I scored pretty good. It's my double P scores are,
I gave you 9.8. I gave you 9.8.
I can live with that. 9.8
9.8.
is pretty good. 9.8 for what I talk about most of the time is pretty good. But anyway,
You had a 10 up until the 10-second mark over the
yeah, but
hour.
I mean, I'm just
But
saying.
beggars can't be choosers, you know.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I had to speak my truth. Anyway, we getting up out of here. Um, Definitely. We thank you. Check out our YouTube channel. Subscribe for updates and more BYOB talk. And you know, we all over the net. Holla, Hayward CPA. Get at us. Look out for some of the other things coming on the Biz Therapy channel. Wow, that sounded nice. The Biz Therapy channel. Wow.
Oh, and conversations with Cortastic and Consulting.
Oh, wow. Conversations with Corey coming soon. That is actually pretty dope. I was like, yo, that is actually pretty dope. That's dope. So we're gonna sign off so we can talk about that. That's dope. Conversations with a K, right?
Yep,
KWK.
yep,
KWK. That's a
that's
t-shirt
right.
right there.
There it is.
All right. Love it. So we like it. Or if you like it, we love it.
Mm-hmm.
Until next time, we will chuck up. Les Deuces.
Peace.
Peace out. We gone.